Dagmar Torres is a retired U.S. Army veteran with over 24 years of leadership experience. So during her military service, she took part in the 2001 NATO Peacekeeping mission in Kosovo, earning a NATO medal for her service in the campaign. So I think we should just start there because there's so many other things to talk about. Let's start there. What was that experience like? I mean, that's a little bit of weight on your shoulders.
Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day.
Hello, it's Jennifer. My amazing guest. I'm so excited. I've had the privilege of being on her podcast, and I'm so excited to introduce you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit, and then we're going to have her tell a little bit of her story. So Dagmar Torres is a retired U.S. Army veteran with over 24 years of leadership experience. So during her military service, she took part in the 2001 NATO Peacekeeping mission in Kosovo, earning a NATO medal for her service in the campaign. So I think we should just start there because there's so many other things to talk about. Let's start there. What was that experience like? I mean, that's a little bit of weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, certainly was. I mean, it was a great experience. I got to not only experience culture, but also, the whole military theater in a peacekeeping mission. And unfortunately, that year is when 9/11 happened, and I was overseas when that happened. So it was an experience in every single aspect because I got to see the military. Not only I did most of my years in the reserve side. So it kind of like gave me a bigger picture of how things go down when bad things happen. And it definitely kind of like opened my mind to many other things that I wanted to do in life. And so when I came back home after that, I pursued my master's degree in criminology. Yeah, so it was great.
I mean, amazing. I actually love talking to, in fact, I'm hoping very soon to get a PI. He's a private investigator, and I'm hoping to get him on the show. And the interesting part is he's actually told me about how many real estate agents that he's had to, I don't want to say, or that have had to hire him for one reason or another, because we kind of dip into all sorts of crazy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. The real estate, that was, I just started real estate last year. That was like the latest, I call it stream of income that I added into my whole portfolio. And I mean, the things that you see in real estate is insane. Like, I have heard stories, I have seen stories, I have like being blown away. Like, my mind is definitely have been blown away about the amount of things that could happen and can go wrong and have gone wrong. And the most important part of it is always being prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of it. And, I know your mission is really to empower and to inspire people through real estate. But I think one of our duties is also to keep people safe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that too. Mm-hmm.
So well, let's start there. So what do you do to keep people safe while you're inspiring them and empowering them in real estate?
In real estate, keeping safety in real estate, that's a great question, Jennifer, because a lot of people kind of like tend to focus on the money making aspect of it, but they don't think about the safety issues that also comes. I mean, safety is always going to be important role in every profession, but in real estate, I mean, you're going to houses that you might not know the owner. You don't know if they have, placed left the house in a proper stage, if they have put away their guns, their stuff, the things that shouldn't be out. And you also don't know exactly who your client is as well, who you're showing the house to. Although there are some methods to actually kind of like pre-screen the person that you're going to be working with. But still, you don't know the mental state that person might become in that day. So you have to be prepared. And I think that the best way is, number one, to kind of like always assess the area where you're going. Make sure how you parked in front of the house, that you parking towards the traffic. So if you have to run away, you may run away safely. You don't have to make U-turns. And also kind of like get some martial arts, so some defense classes, and try to stay in shape, so in case that you have to run, you at least may run a mile.
Well, and it's funny, I'm licensed in Virginia, DC, Maryland, and now Florida. And it's funny, recently I interviewed this really interesting, I want to call them a couple because it's a male and a female, but they're cousins. They're not a couple.
Yeah.
We tease him about, but that's what he does, is he teaches safety for real estate agents. And he comes from a background in special forces and martial arts and such. And I think that part of the thing I learned, and that I've learned from a couple different like trainers, is it also just awareness,
Yes.
about, you might need to run, you might need to whatever, but part of that is you actually have to stay aware and be seeing what's happening around you. Like you said, if you park, how did you park, and are you aware of your surroundings? Because a lot of times as real estate agents, we're like, we're juggling a phone and a this and a that, back
and also knowing where your nearest police stations are. That's another thing that you have to keep in mind when taking that safety the safety controls or measures to put it in place. Just be aware of also where your surrounding police stations.
Well, and I wanted to, so we were talking a little bit about safety, but let's shift over to one of your other big missions as a real estate agent, is also to inspire people with real estate. And, as you said, multiple streams of incomes is, I think, one of the key successes to any entrepreneur. But how do you empower and inspire people in real estate?
Well, I think that the other thing about inspiring people, I think, is most of what you can do with the real estate, what you can create with real estate. No, you can not only create a legacy, but you also need to think about the future. In my book, I speak about how much you need to retire these days. The last numbers that I have are from 2017, and average American needs $1.7 million to retire comfortably. That includes medical expenses, everything that could happen and go wrong, everything to cover your needs, 1.7 million. And we don't have the actual numbers today after inflation. So let's say roughly it went up another million. So let's say it's $7 million that you may need. Last time we checked, although I wish I will open my account tomorrow and magically I will have 2.7 million sitting in there, right? I'm on my way there, but it's not there yet.
Right.
But the thing is that reality is that a lot of Americans today are living paycheck to paycheck. So how I'm trying to inspire people to get themselves into investing in real estate and seeing real estate as a method or a venue where they can create their own economy and create a safe haven for them from when hard times get harder. Real estate can give you a lot of money when you actually manage property in a very savvy and intelligent way. And at the same time, it could be also an asset that you can sell and get the money to solve any kind of issues that you may have in the future. So there's so many things that you can do with real estate. And I think inspiring people into, learning about real estate, getting themselves educated and investing into real estate is one of the biggest things that I can give back to the community after, serving so long.
And I think that, and you mentioned about your book, and I want to go back to that in a second, but one of the things that I think is really important is that education piece of educating people and also giving them the opportunity to look at different options, because, again, so many people don't know what their options are. And so if they don't know that they had the option in the first place, like maybe if you're looking at a property, and just to give an example, say you were looking at a property and it's a property that has restrictions on short-term rentals, and yet you could go over 2 neighborhoods, which maybe only be like 2 blocks, And next thing you know, in that neighborhood, you could do short-term rentals. So if something happened and you had an opportunity and you decided to go overseas for 2 months and you wanted to rent out your house for 2 months or something, you have the opportunity and you know about your options of whether, okay, I'm only going to live in here, but do I have the option to do short-term rental? Or is it that they're never, ever going to be an option? So if it's a condo, what if the fees go skyrocketing and I need to sell this property? In the meantime, if I'm having trouble selling it because the market's rough, could I do some short-term renting, long-term renting? And what does that mean? Like in Florida, I laugh because it depends neighborhood by neighborhood. We have this one area called Dunedin, and I'm laughing when I talked to the city manager. He said, so we've done it block by block. And he said, we have a whole spreadsheet. And I was like, what? So in the spreadsheet, you literally, depending on what address it is, whether you can rent it daily, you can rent it by the week, or a minimum of 3 months, or it's a minimum of 6 months, or a minimum of 9 months. I was like, what? Who came up with these categories and why certain areas? But again, for most people are like, oh yeah, all short-term rentals are fine in that area, and they're not. So really understanding those different options, I think
I think that the key to that, Jennifer, because you just said something really specific into it, and is that depending into the area. So everything is, with real estate, everything is location, location, location. So if you do really like a evaluation and research the property that you want to invest in, make sure it's in an area, like you said, that you don't have any restrictions. But when you have a property that is, let's say, near Disney, for example, in Florida, like Disney, I mean, that definitely gonna give you a lot of revenue back, because a lot of people just go for a weekend, just go for a week. Other people stay there for a month. Like, in definitely taking that location in consideration is gonna be the biggest part of your investment.
I agree. And it's so funny. I'm just going to throw it in there. I'm just about to publish a book called Location, Location, Location. And it's all about that. And it's going to be a short, like a Kindle book. So again, because I've learned, just like we love these the shorts and all these 60, I found that that's the best way that I'm doing my books. But speaking of, let's talk about your book. Yay! So talk about, what inspired you to share your story, and what could people know more about your book?
Okay, so when I wrote my book, that was in 2021, and I just really wanted to kind of like share my story to inspire people to unlock their potential and be fearless, and just give themselves the opportunity to explore the things that they always wanted to do, and fulfill their dreams and the God-given purpose. And I think that through my book, I highlight certain things that I have through my life done in order to achieve the level of success that I have right now, and the ultimate goal of level of success that I want to achieve in the future. And I tell my story, and as I go and tell my story, I give like some nuggets of what people can start doing today in order to become, the better version of themselves. And the title of my book is Dauntless, Creating Your Blueprint for Success.
And let's talk about it. You do such a great job as a storyteller. So I was wondering if you might share one of your stories and maybe even incorporate one of those nuggets.
Okay, so I think one of my favorite chapters, and I'm just going to read my book for a second. Yeah. This is my book. It has my face on it. It's super beautiful. This is I think it's the second chapter, which is titled Dream, Vision, and Mentorship. Because number one, you have to see your dream. You have to kind of like dream it. You have to see it. You have to dream it. You have to kind of like, okay, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. And then create the vision. If you don't have the vision, then you have to create the vision. How do you see yourself into fulfilling that dream that you have? And of course, I think the number one key here is a mentorship. Yeah. Years ago, decades ago, I will say, let's say not last century, but the century before, in society, having a mentor was like that was like a very high level, like you have to be in the high level of society to actually have a mentor, right?
Yep, it seemed
Or
unreachable. It seemed like you
yeah,
couldn't even get it because it was so expensive and so out of our elite. And also from where I come from, I was like, oh my gosh, nobody has a mentor.
exactly.
So expensive.
That
Whew.
was something that only rich people did back then, right? Some people in some cultures, they call it like governess, like a female will have a governess, somebody that will coach them and will like bring them into become the young woman and future lady that they will be. And when you looked at it, that cost them having somebody that mentor you and walk you through life in order to keep you going through the right path so you will achieve your dreams or your purpose, it's gone. And a lot of people today, they don't invest in themselves, in coaching programs and mentorship. And I think that in my book I highlight that specifically in that chapter because I want to create the awareness in people that mentorship and coaching can save you so much time.
Yeah.
Like if you want to succeed in your life and you want to like create rapid and fast business growth and personal growth and leadership growth, you need a mentor, you need a coach, you need somebody that will teach you which path is going to be the best path for you to achieve that goal or that dream, because it's better to have somebody that already have the answers than trying to find it or spend hours on YouTube trying to to come up with the answer. Right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's such a good way to put it because so many people they look and look and look and look and but part of it is they don't even know what they're looking for.
yeah,
You know, and that's part of like being a real estate advisor is really helping people understand, what are the questions that you should be asking? Like,
exactly.
yeah, so often you don't even know. So your mentor would know what things again, could give you a little assessment and find out what are the things that you really do need help with, because you might not even know it exists that you needed help with
Exactly.
that part of your life or your business or whatever.
Exactly. Yes.
So I know we're getting close to out of time. I want to make sure that people know a little bit about your amazing podcast. We talked about your book, so yay! Let's talk about your podcast. Be feeling.
Be Fearless podcast. Oh my God. Podcasting came into my hands or into my life before I wrote my book.
Yeah.
And it was like, when you're at a party and one of your friends have a baby and they just drop it in your lap, like hold my baby for a second, like just like right here, like right now. And then you're like holding that baby, like, okay, what I'm going to do with you now. And that's how podcasting arrived into my life. I think that the most important thing was that I wanted, obviously it was like at the end of 2020, we're still in the pandemic. And I am watching in Facebook and so many Facebook groups. I'm watching all this live, people telling their story, people 7-figure earners talking and all that. I'm like, but these stories are like in private groups. Like people need to listen to these stories. They need to listen to get inspired and all that. And that's how Be Fearless podcast started. It started with the purpose of highlighting and showcasing high achievers and 7-figure earners and business owners and any type of individual with a dream that they have achieved the highest success, to come tell your story, tell the people how you do it, what things you work with your mindset, with your lifestyle, with yourself, what things you did to actually achieve the dream, the goal that you had. And that's how Be Fearless started. Now we are in the third season. It's going to be our third year now in December. Yay. We are pretty much on every platform for podcasting. We go live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Monday. Wednesday is a recorded episode. And I am so excited because in all this time, I have had the opportunity to meet so much amazing people. and bring so much content that truly inspire people to unlock their potential. I think that's the main mission and goal of that podcast, is to help them, to inspire you to become the best version of yourself, because you deserve it. You deserve it. We all are created to be amazing. So
I agree. I can't, that's where I just adore you from the moment I met you. And when I first started reading about it, I was like, what? This is so fantastic. And I think that so often we have so much bad news out there that we have to put together the good news.
yeah.
Really celebrate every time we have our wins and help each other and be inspired and be continued toward our goals. Because we can have good days, but boy, we can also have days. So we need to help each other. So I want to make sure, again, you said you talked about the podcast being on everything, but make sure your social media, where people can find your book. How do they do that?
So people can find my book, Dauntless: Creating Your Blueprint for Success, is available in Amazon and the paperback and Kindle version. So it is available there. On social media, you guys can follow me too in Instagram by The Success Strategist. And on Facebook, obviously, the Fearless Podcast by Dagmar Torres. And if you want to know more and get more of my content and know everything that I do, you may also go into dagmartorres.com. And also you will get there the tab for all my real estate business and all the information, the good stuff, and the blog that I have in the website. So
well done. I mean, it is a lot, and it's a lot of work. Believe me, I know.
yeah.
So well done on that. Well, as you know, I always love to have you lift your voice and say yay with me as we go off the air. Ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for being a guest today. This is just absolutely fantastic.